we had our fantasy draft last night, us and a bunch of our buddies from high school. And then we are going to kind of reveal our picks and kind of our thought process behind each one. So with that being said, we're going to roll into it. Episode 25. Here we go, fellas. David. David had a little hiccup last night, and I'm going to just right off the bat. We sit beside each other at our buddy's house, and he screwed up. Dave, let the viewers know what you did on accident. It was an accident. I'll give him that, and it's already been fixed.
Well, it hasn't
But
been
David
fixed
screwed
yet.
up.
Hasn't been fixed yet. We're still waiting for the waiver wire claim to go through. But this was a culmination of Frank and Coop both just ruining my night from the start. First, Frank decided to announce to the entire draft that he's going to take the first quarterback off the board in the second round, which completely ruined my entire strategy because then Coop went and took a quarterback with the next pick because he was scared. And then on Coop's fault, Coop was feeding me, some very tasty bushes the entire night. And
it is the Bush League. It's the Bush League.
It's the Bush League. Bush. And so, yeah, got a little drunk, got a little happy. Decided that I liked. Whoa.
That's my phone went off. Sorry, fellas.
I decided that I liked both the 49ers defense, and I don't even remember who I drafted before them.
The Buccaneers.
You drafted two defenses.
So your boy got two defenses, and I'm pretty sure it took me from being the best draft. I think that's what did me in.
All right, so sticking on David's train here of his draft, let's take a look at his starters here. David, take us through your thought process. What do you like about it? Something that you might change.
Well, I had the 8th pick, redraft, snake draft. We play full PPR. So first round pick was Najee Harris. Second round pick, Debo, kind of, that 8, and I believe it was 13 or 14 was that wraparound. So my thought process was, go get two dudes that are going to go get me some points early on. Najee's a workhorse. We know that. Maybe not as many receptions as like an Eckler or a CMC, but still good fantasy value for a running back. Debo was basically the best available when I had my pick. I forget who the other wide receiver I had as an option. I kind of decided that Debo has that upside where he's more of the utility guy in San Francisco versus I forget who the other man was that was up there. And then my goal was to have that third round pick be my quarterback, go after the Herbert, Josh Allen, Mahomes, because, our football league isn't diehards like us three where we watch football and talk about it constantly. So I was thinking quarterbacks would last a couple rounds until Frank opened his big mouth. So that's when, I went and got Mark Andrews. I don't hate the pick. A little early for a tight end, but literally I had my second round pick. Coop was 2 picks after me, and I think the top 10 quarterbacks were gone before I got to my pick in the 3rd. So I kind of got handcuffed pretty bad. I got lucky Tom Brady was still there, I believe, in like the 6th. But so I got Mark Andrews, and then Mike Williams and Cortland Sutton just fell into my lap. That was kind of the quarterback fallout that I kind of got lucky with. I actually love those 2 picks, especially they're saying Cortland Sutton is Wilson's number 1 target right now. So I am very happy with that pick in a PPR league. And then I kind of had to go. I had to get more running backs. Javonte fell to me, which I'm not mad about that one at all. And then J.K. Dobbins, he tore ACL last year, but he was a fantasy stud in 2020. Granted, it was a COVID year, but we'll see how that turns out. And then just betting on Christian Kirk. Man got paid. Hoping Trevor Lawrence has a better year this year with better weapons around him. So I don't know. I like it. I got ESPN gave me the second ranking, and I think Fantasy Pros gave me third. So out of the 8th spot, I'm very happy with my draft, especially since I got Carson Wentz starting for me, which a lot of other teams have better quarterbacks than I do.
Yeah, so let's take a look at David's bench really quick. So these are the guys he also picked up along the way. If you can see here, right in the 5th bench spot, we have the ever elusive Buccaneers defense / special teams. For those of you that just got on, here's David's starters. Here's David's bench. He drafted 2 defenses. So congrats. I like the Russell Gage pickup. I think you got him pretty late. He is going to be coming off an injury, obviously, but he's in a wide receiver room that it's kind of uncertain with Godwin and Julio, and I don't think they have many tight end options that I'm aware of. Tom Brady likes to spread the ball around, so he's a potential sleeper that is going to help Dave out eventually. Also, what I like about Dave's draft is his wide receivers are not going to blow anybody out of solid, and I think they're going to be consistent. And I think I like Christian Kirk a lot. I think that's going to be a pick that David likes tremendously over the course of the season. Again, it's all dependent on how Trevor Lawrence works, but I think the Jaguars are trending up, similar to where a few years ago as they drafted Baker. You're looking at, in my opinion, 6, 7, 8 wins this season for sure. I'm going to call it now. So, Coop, what do you like about Dave's draft most?
What do I like the most? Let me see.
He's just going to trash it.
No, definitely not. I agree with you. Kirk was my sleeper when we did that episode. I think the target volume there is going to be huge, especially in a PPR league that ups his value. He's not going to have that touchdown, upside that a lot of these guys do, but he's got touchdowns covered, and that's one thing that stands out to me. Like Mike Williams, Cortland Sutton, probably both in the top 10 favorites right now if you're betting double-digit touchdowns for the NFL this season. No doubt in my mind, both those guys could take a huge step forward. Williams, just with, another year of Herbert developing, another year of Keenan Allen getting older. He's at that, I think 32-year-old wide receiver season where we start to see him drop off. And Cortland Sutton profiles as the Denver DK, right? I mean, that's what he looks like right now. Every report out of training camp, he's Russ's guy. He's looking for him all the time. Dobbins, man, I've had such a hard time with Dobbins this offseason because, even when we did the Baltimore preview, like I said, he's a guy that can finish top 10. He's also a guy that can finish outside the top 30. Is he going to be healthy? And how much are they going to split that backfield?
Yeah, they have a ton of running backs back there.
For the only team that really waited on quarterback, I do think he got 2 good values here. Brady slipping because of all the offseason drama, and everybody they take those bad plays from Wentz and they really let it dictate the whole narrative on him. But he was good when he played up until the end of the season. Just those key plays is where he fails. So I think it's good. I don't think it'll win him the league, but it'll be respectable.
I don't know if you have it handy, Coop, but do you have the championship belt near you right now?
I don't. Nope. It's still out in the car. I didn't unpack everything from last night.
So in the thumbnail for this video on YouTube later on, we're going to have a picture of us 3. We all got together. Dave was in town. He's actually back in Illinois right now. So it was good to have Dave come back into Kentucky and hang out with us for a little bit. We all 3 took a picture together to use for thumbnails and things like that. And Coop is wearing the championship belt that he had purchased. It's pretty sick looking. If you want a link to where he got it from, we'll put it in the bio. That way you can go on there and order your fantasy football league belt. I think every fantasy league has to have something that you're playing for. Obviously, money is involved. But having something you can keep over time for the whole calendar year and just show up to random places that your friends are going to be there and wear it constantly and shove it in their faces that you beat their ass in fantasy football. So good times for me. I think so. But let's go with let's talk about mine. All right. So I had the number 1 overall pick. Obviously, I picked Jonathan Taylor. Team name, Taylor Park Boys. Let us know in the comments. Dave's name is Dave. Super crappy. Tell him it sucks. He'll figure something else out. It should be David spelled with 2 D's because it's 2 defenses. Get it? That's funny. But anyway.
Tie it to a balloon, Frank. Tie it to a balloon.
That was funny, and you know it, David. I picked Jonathan Taylor first overall. I think CeeDee Lamb was my second-round pick. I do
Lamar
like my quarterback
second.
situation.
CD was in the third.
Oh, I have to pick Lamar second. That's after I was telling everybody that I was going to pick Josh Allen with my next pick. And then Coop picked him like 4 picks before me. And then the quarterbacks just started dropping off quickly because we are in a 2-quarterback league. It does scare you a little bit that you're going to get left with, pretty crappy quarterback.
Didn't scare me.
Well, I mean, but in our league, if you have 2 really good quarterbacks, that could potentially result in 100 points based on our scoring. We are PPR, but like everything is doubled pretty much, just inflated heavily. So 2 good quarterbacks can help you win tremendously, along with the other pieces you have. But for me, I do like my running back room a lot. I like my starting receivers are okay. Funny story is my internet actually got timed out and I was auto drafted DK. Not sure that I would pick him in that spot that happened, but I'm also not upset about it at the same time. I was actually had back-to-back picks and they auto drafted me 2 of them. I can't remember the other one. I think the other one was Elijah Mitchell. If I'm not mistaken, Coop probably has the draft board up there. Was I right on that? So I got auto drafted DK and Elijah Mitchell because my internet at the time in the same house as everybody else.
That's just on you, Frank.
Cut out. And then, but I mean, it could be worse. I did get, I like the Chargers defense a lot. I'm not a huge David Montgomery fan, but for what was available, I like it at that point. For my bench, I went heavy wide receiver. Olave, DJ Shark, Rondell Moore, and I took a stab at Julio Jones late in the draft, just in case. You never know. And then my boys are going to give me hell for this, but my backup quarterback happens to be Baker Mayfield. And I know if you've watched anything recently in the past for our show, we've crapped on Baker Mayfield for like the last months doing this show. But I think he's on a really good team. I think he's got some weapons to throw to. He's a starter.
Whoa. You just said he's on a really good team.
He's on a good team. It's not great. How many times is he going to check down to Christian McCaffrey and he's just going to bust his
Well, I don't think it's going to be a check down. I think it's just going to be a play to throw it to Christian McCaffrey.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but I mean, he's not going to hand it off to him as much as he's going to throw it to him. So, there's positive points to be, and he's my backup. So, hopefully I don't have to play him until my bye week. But I do like the Olave pick, and then DJ Shark. Obviously, I think Rashad Bateman is going to be really good for the Baltimore Ravens. He'll probably end up in my starting lineup over, I don't know, David Montgomery. I would say maybe. I'm going to let the first week slide and see how things go. Look at the overall projections and percentage of touches and things of that nature, and then make my decisions. But I'll have to do a little bit more research leading up to Thursday and then the rest of the weekend to see who I want to pick in those flex spots. But I've got a lot of options for wide receivers. So I've got my work cut out. But what are your guys' opinions on your boys' draft? I was picked to finish 4th on Fantasy Pros. And then on our ESPN, I think I was 6th or 5th. I think it was 6th. I think it's today. Because I think, Coop, you dropped a little bit if you haven't checked. I think it's just because you don't have a kicker.
Yeah, I did drop. Yeah, you were projected 6th.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But let's pop it back up here again. All right, fellas. One thing I did not like is I do think Cole Kmet is going to be okay. Talked about before, if you don't get like a top 5 tight end, you're not getting much production out of him. It's pretty much boom or bust for tight ends. Cole Kmet may come out and be, the number 1 target for Justin Fields in Chicago, but I don't think that's going to happen week to week. he might lead the league and lead the team in targets for certain games, but I think I'm not going to get that much production consistently out of Cole Kmet. But he was the best available at the time. I waited tight end. That's probably the one thing I probably would have changed if I had another chance. Tight ends left pretty quick in our league too, I think.
Yeah,
Any ones that I would like.
That was
target.
a shock to me.
I know, Kelsey and Andrews, and I think Waller went really early. I think.
Yeah, I think Andrews. Well, I took Andrews, and then I believe Chaz took Kelsey with the next pick.
Yeah, so
they went back to back.
With 18 picks between my two picks, I think in like 6 of them tight ends were taken. Once one of them started going, they all started going, and I kind of just got left with the bottom of the barrel. And at that point, I kind of just kept pushing back and drafting other wide receivers for that flex spot. You there? I'm going to get something out of Cole Kmet because I think he's really good. He could turn into a little bit of a sleeper pick, but I'm not betting the mortgage on it or anything. So,
my pick for you, your boomer bust is CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah,
I know he's I think ranked 14th or top 15 in most leagues. I don't know. Him having Amari Cooper there the past couple years, he's really good. I mean, he's clearly ranked because he's good. I just don't know how he's going to be able to handle being the number one guy. And he's not going to have help for a few weeks with Michael Gallup being out, which I don't know if they've said how many games he's going to miss yet, but he's not on the PUP. And so that means he's going to play within at least the first 4 weeks, you would assume. But I don't know. I think CeeDee Lamb, I had a draft tonight. He was on the board for way too long. And I just couldn't pull the trigger on him because, I had like Mike Evans or Mike Williams. Like there's just different guys out there that are more known commodities that their role. And CeeDee's now this number one wide receiver. And, that changes. Just because you were good and you become a number one doesn't mean you're going to be the number one.
Yeah, that's for sure. My thing for drafting him, we always give this advice of draft players on good offenses. And our NFL awards show, which is our very first episode, we talked about it. The Dallas Cowboys had a freaking electric offense last year. It may not be that now. Obviously, things have happened. But they led the league in damn near every passing category. So I don't think the drop-off is going to be that much with CeeDee Lamb. He is going to fall off a little bit, and we never talked about him in those bust categories that we had. But he is a bust candidate, and he's on my roster, so I'm understanding of that. But I'm kind of hopeful that don't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are watching and see what you like or what you don't like, let us know. You're not going to hurt our feelings none. Coach Whitaker likes the CD pick, so appreciate you, Coach. So if you guys are watching, interact with us. Tell us what you like. Quick look at my bench again. Like I said, I fully think Rashad Bateman is going to end up starting for me. He might be starting week 1. I got the Bateman and the Lamar stack there. It's going to be hard to keep that on the bench for very long. So who is it going? I don't know if it's going to be Montgomery or Mitchell. DK, we'll see what happens at the quarterback spot for Seattle. I don't like Seattle. I don't like them. I don't trust DK. Like I said, you guys just hopped on. DK came to me by accident. My internet timed out. I got auto-picked, back-to-back pick because I was the first overall pick. It was the the ending round of it, so I got back-to-back picks. Auto-drafted both DK and Elijah Mitchell. I'm not mad about the Mitchell pick. I do like Elijah Mitchell. He's somebody I probably could have picked very, very well, would have targeted at that point in the draft based on my running backs that I had because I had 2 at the time. But I don't like DK. That's one thing I don't like about my team. But he could surprise me. I don't know. I know that if Geno Smith starts, he likes DK. Bryce comments on our show all the time. He's a big Seahawks fan. He thinks that Geno's going to target DK a ton. But we'll see. I don't know. Coop don't think so.
Yeah, I think the steal for your team was Bateman. You got him in round 9. And, part of my strategy, I do really like the stacks. And I was trying to go for upside with a lot of my picks, but I have Bateman ranked personally over Gabe Davis. I took Gabe Davis in the 6th. Bateman fell to 9. So that's just a huge value. Really liked him. I'm higher on Komet than most. I think that's kind of outside of those top 7 or 8. He's the best option out of those next guys.
And I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have picked him if it hadn't been for our show and me having to go and look at stats and looking things and listening to Coop talk about these guys that he likes. I'll be quite honest, if it wasn't for this show. So there you
Frank,
go.
You took 3 of Coop's guys that he wanted. It was beautiful.
I got sniped a lot.
Coop got sniped a lot. I think Keith got him a couple times. Yep. Daniel got you a couple times. He drafted AJ Dillon. We've talked about a ton on this show. I had him actually queued up in my draft board, 4 picks ahead of me, and Coop took him when I was getting ready to take him too. So we all know that happens consistently. But I will say this, and Coop made this comment during our draft, that it was the most comprehensive, educational backed draft that we've ever had. Not many people went off the wire and did something stupid, except for Dave drafting 2 defenses. Also an accident. Yeah. But other than that, it's going to be a pretty competitive league this year, I believe. It's hard to predict those types of things without the season actually starting, because tomorrow half our team may get hurt in practice. So
yeah.
All right, fellas. Coop, defending champ. Buddy, talk about it real quick. What was your thought process?
I want to lead off by saying that, both these guys are full of excuses. You've heard both of them, give their reasoning why I did this, why I did that. Champions don't make excuses because they're too busy getting better. So you're not going to hear any of that out of me. So we'll start off at the top with how I got Josh Allen on this team. And the thing that's so important about fantasy, you have to know your league. And that's not just the roster settings, not just the scoring. You have to know how the people in your league draft. Our league is not, they don't love quarterbacks. They just don't. We've always been a 2-quarterback league, but we've been a small league. We've had 8 teams for a few years. So quarterbacks aren't as premium when you have that. 10 teams is a different ballgame. You do any mock draft, you look at any rankings, Superflex, 2-quarterback league, Josh Allen is 101. He's the first pick in the draft. So I was ready to take Josh Allen in the first if he fell, if somebody took Herbert or Mahomes over him. But when he didn't, I knew that I could wait. So I went and got my guy, my 101 that I've proclaimed on this show, Justin Jefferson. Top receiver. We're in a full PPR league.
That video doing mighty well on YouTube, by the way. So
yeah,
just saying.
And we want to practice what we preach here. We want you guys to know that we're not just saying it so you'll listen to us. We're saying it because we believe it. This are the things we use, and that I try to win, that I win with, and that they try to win with. So when I took Jefferson, I knew I wanted one of the top 6 quarterbacks, and I could get one of those in the second. And it was just a blessing when Josh Allen fell to me. So I took him in the second round. That gave me the number 1 player at 2 different positions. So that is a huge advantage week to week, that I have the number 1 wide receiver and the number 1 quarterback. I kind of had the strategy going in, again, knowing who I draft with. It was going to be running back heavy. So I wanted to go 0 RB. I only have to start 2. So I took advantage of that roster flexibility, and I just loaded up on wide receivers. Really wanted Michael Pittman in the 3rd. Shocked that he didn't fall to me. He's normally, a pick that goes in the 30s. That would put him round 4. He didn't fall. So I went DJ Moore. I think, a lot of upside there. As much as I hate Baker, he's better than Sam Darnold. It is an upgrade. After that, Higgins best available. I got Kyle Pitts in the 5th, which is where I had him kind of queued up for the entire draft. Right after him went Waller, so it was a perfect spot to get him. Another positional advantage. He's top 3. Finished it out with Gabe Davis, Darnell Mooney, and then I did not take a running back until round 8, and I went and got my guy again, A.J. Dillon. A couple rounds early because people have heard me talk about him, and I didn't want somebody else to get the quad father
I had him
team.
queued. I had him queued up. Honestly,
Yeah.
really quick. We want to answer this question real quick. That's Obi-Wan says, "Hey, do y'all give ratings for teams?" I really quick want to answer that. Well, if you send us your team, you want to type it in the comments. We'll give you some comments just like we're giving our own. A grade per se based on analytics, we don't have that power. If you want us to comment on your team, send us a list of your names and your starters and things like that, and we'll do the same thing we're doing with our own team right now. We'll talk about it. We'll run through your list, what we like, what we don't like, maybe something you might need to look for in the future. So Obi-Wan, appreciate the comment from YouTube. But Coop, sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like I had to answer that question really quick before lost that train of thought there.
Yeah, 100%. It put me on pause too. I saw it over there on the side. I'm glad you gave it some mention. Then I decided to roll the dice on Damien Pierce, everybody's preseason darling right now. Figured round 9, and with no running backs really on my roster, I got to go with the upside and hope that he can take that backfield over for all 3 downs. Went Justin Fields and Daniel Jones as that kind of QB2 rotation. I'll play the matchups. They both have rushing upside. They're on terrible teams, and hopefully they can get better under coaching changes. You know, they take step forwards as passers. They're going to be usable QB2s. But that was kind of my strategy. Tried to pick up some more running backs that have question marks, hoping that they could be full-time backs. Michael Carter, he's supposed to be the lead back until he isn't with Breece Hall. He's the 1A right now for them. And then Kenneth Walker and Daryl Henderson Jr. are both an injury away behind 2 very injury-prone running backs to be 3-down workhorses for their teams. I got snobbed a lot, man. I wanted Nyheim Hines. He went to pick before me. Ramondre Stevenson, the pick before me. Chase Edmonds, pick before me. So definitely, like Frank said, very competitive league. A lot of people knew what they were doing. I was just, I guess, a round too late if I was 1 pick behind. But I like my chances. I think I'm definitely in the conversation for the best team in the league, and hopefully my wide receivers stay healthier than everybody else's running backs.
Yeah. And honestly, Coop, look at his starters one more time. A.J. Dillon and Damien Pierce. Damien Pierce is shooting up people's draft boards. Again, Texans are not a good football team. I do not think that they're going to win more than 4 games, but I could be wrong. But with that being said, he's going to be their workhorse for a significant time and place for quite some time because they cut everybody else they had. They let him go. So with, Damien Pierce was right. I think you took him relatively early too, didn't you, Coop?
I took him in round 9.
Oh, that's not relatively early then. But I like A.J. Dillon and Damien Pierce. Again, I had Dillon queued up picks away. I thought, he might fall to me, but Coop didn't let that happen. I do like, obviously, Justin Jefferson. We had a conversation about him being the top overall pick. And that video is on YouTube if you guys want to listen to that conversation. It was a really good one and filled with a lot of stats and things like that. It's one of our best performing videos on YouTube right now, so appreciate you guys for that. Just make sure you give us a shout out and subscribe while you're at it, watching some of our stuff. We appreciate that. We're on the way to 100. We're 60 subscribers away as of earlier today. We're growing slowly but surely. We think streaming consistently is helping us out a little bit. We love talking to our audience and things like that. So you guys leave comments, we'll answer your questions. Coop, I like the team, dude. I really do. The bench is what, I like Ayuk a lot. And it's all dependent on Trey Lance and how he does. I like Justin Fields as your backup. I think he might end up being a starter in my opinion, but
yeah, he's only on the bench because they play San Francisco week 1, and nobody wants that.
No. Daryl Henderson, like I said, I'm not a big Cam Akers fan, but I do think he's going to get a lot of red zone touches. And, Akers coming off of an Achilles injury, that's kind of difficult to come back and do anything with. I think I read a stat that people coming off Achilles injuries, running backs especially, do not finish in the top half of the league in terms of running back production fantasy-wise after that. So you guys that drafted Cam Akers, be on the lookout. You might need to beef up that running back room a little bit.
Yeah, I was real upset whenever Coop sniped Daryl Henderson because he got him 2 picks before I was going after him. I think I even talked about him being a sleeper because, like Frank just said, Cam Akers, he came in and did a job to get him to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, but that was Daryl Henderson's team for 18 weeks. He was I think he twisted his ankle or, an ankle injury, gave Akers the starting nod in that first week. But that was Henderson's team. He was a second-round pick last year, and the fact that he fell to the 13th or 14th round is pretty remarkable. So I like that pick. I really wanted him.